Happy Victory Monday, Colts Nation. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. What I want to talk about here is kind of how I see this team changing, right? From how we've been in years past. You go back and look at just last season. Last season was kind of a debacle all around, a lot of different reasons for the way things were. But a couple of games that really stuck with me from last year is the Cowboys game. That game was close all the way through, and then the Cowboys score like 33 points in the fourth quarter. Then the Colts go on a bye week, and then with Jeff Saturday, they go into Minnesota, go up 33-0 in the first half and lose that game 39-36. Like, this team under Frank Reich has had issues finishing. The Texans in the last game of the year go into Indianapolis and win that game 32-31. And that's kind of been like through the Frank Reich era. There were times where the Colts would pull a game out at the end, but a lot of times we saw games like that. If it got tight, if it was tight near the end, the Colts just found a way to lose. And what we've seen this year has been a change in that, right? You think about the Texans game in week 2, the Colts have dominated that one for most of it, but in the second half, CJ Stroud and that offense start cooking. That's really where CJ Stroud and that offense started to pick up steam, was in the second half against the Colts in week 2. And the Colts were able to shut it down at the end of the game, and they won that game 31-20. Then you think the very next week, week 3 against the Ravens, ends up going into overtime, a tough game with a team that is currently one of the best teams in the NFL. And even though you can point to that game and say, well, they had this guy out, this guy out, this guy out, like we didn't have Jonathan Taylor, we didn't have Anthony Richardson. We went into that game with Gardner Minshew as a starter, went into that game with Zach Moss. They both did what they had to do. We came out of that game in overtime, winning 22-19. Matt Gay had 4 field goals of over 50 yards. Okay, that's an important part of the team. You think about teams, you're talking about the best teams in the league are the ones that win the Super Bowl, right? So special teams, having that element there is Matt Gay coming in, biggest kicker contract of all time, and having him be able to put games away for us is huge. So having that happen for us early in the year, those things were positive, right? And then you have the Rams game where we almost come back but can't finish it off in overtime. Then you have that 3-game stretch where it was the Jaguars in Jacksonville. They whooped up on us. The Browns, that game was back and forth, and we found a way to lose it. The game with the Saints, we found a way to lose it. And again, there are different reasons for everything. It's the NFL. People are going to get hurt. It happens, right? We should have won the Browns game. Now, that's the one where I'll give it to you. We should have won the Browns game. We made the plays to win that game, but the refs and the NFL admitted the refs messed that game up. We should have won that game when EJ Speed got home for the sack, ended up forcing a fumble. We recover. We should have won that game, yeah. But those other games, right? Those are games that in the past we've seen the Colts lose them. This year we saw the Colts lose them. But then what we've seen since, and again, like we're not playing the best talent. Panthers, Patriots, Buccaneers, Titans. These aren't the best teams in the league. But we've been in situations in these games where in the past we lose these games, okay? The Panthers, you think about the Panthers, without Kenny Moore doing what he does, that game at the very least is 13-13, goes into overtime. Who knows what happens? There's a chance we lose that game without Kenny Moore. And that's one of those things when you need your stars to make a play, can they make a play? And Kenny Moore was able to make the plays on that night. And that's something that we didn't see happen last year, right? And then you go to 1 week later against the Patriots. This is the only game this season where the Colts don't score 20 points. And in the event that that happened, the defense that had just got done giving up 37, 39, and 38 in back-to-back-to-back weeks before playing the Panthers ended up only giving 6 points to the Patriots. And yes, maybe that's not as impressive because the Patriots just got shut out by the Chargers, but the point still remains they did what they were supposed to do. And they found a way to win. Even when the offense didn't have a good day, they found a way to have 10 points on the board. We found a way to win. Okay, then against the Buccaneers, this is a game where coming off of the bye, I thought we'd come in and perform better against the Buccaneers. And it started well, right? 17-3 in that game. But then as it continued to go on, the Buccaneers closed that gap. And it looked like we might give this one away. But in the end, we found a way to win. And then you come to the Titans in week 13, an absolute dogfight where we knew it was going to be a dogfight, a division game against the Titans, who aren't a very good football team. But these division games, we know how they go. Just like Jacksonville and Jacksonville, even when Jacksonville is trash, it's just how these games go. We know how these games are going to go. So we knew it was going to be a dogfight. We knew that even though I predicted 30-13, there was that thought in the back of my mind. I know this is going to be a hard game because it's the Titans. We're in Nashville. And even when it looked like the Colts were going to find a way to lose that game, they got it together. They ended up making the plays that they had to. They didn't have penalties at the end of the game that killed drives or bad penalties at the end of the game. Right, there were a couple penalties there in overtime, and that's how the Titans were able to get 3 points. And that's where I thought, okay, maybe we just lost this game. But then the offense coming out, able to make the plays, right? And for anything that I've said about Gardner, like to make that throw, the set of stones that it takes to make that throw in that moment, like I have to give Gardner his props where it's due. That was not only does it take massive stones to make that throw, but that was a great throw. Gardner downfield throwing the ball. You know, we've talked about it plenty. Not always accurate. And honestly, he doesn't always get the ball that far downfield. So where he hit Alec down the field and the fact that he put it right in the breadbasket exactly where it needed to be so that Alec didn't have to break stride. He didn't have to go up and make a contested catch. He was able to catch it and continue to run and got us inside the 5-yard line. We made plays when it mattered, right? And then to be able to finish it off on a day where we ended up with 3 red zone opportunities before that one, and we came away with 3 field goals. So to get down there and to have the first pass play doesn't work, the run play on second down doesn't work, and then you come back and pass it basically on almost the exact same play. But if you go back and look at the design, like, and that's something that we might do. I'm thinking about doing some tape review. We haven't done that in a little while, and I think looking at that last play, if you look at the first and goal on that last drive, and then the third and goal, like we'll talk about it. But it was a great play design, and at the end of the day, they were able to make the play. Pitt makes the catch. Gardner makes a good throw. It was almost too far behind Pitt, almost a bad throw, but it was in a good enough spot where he finds Pitt. Pitt's able to bring it in. We win the game and find a way to win. The common thing here is finding a way to win. So even though it's not pretty and we don't have the most stacked roster right now, right? Like, can we go into a game with the 49ers and win? Like, probably not. That's probably not going to end well. But what we're seeing is that this team is going to fight. This team is going to try to find a way to win. This team is going to do the things necessary to keep themselves in a position where at the end of the game, they at least have a chance. And I think those are positive steps. And that's why I love Shane Steichen so much. Coach Steichen has been such a big part of the turnaround we're seeing. And a lot of the players talk about it. It's like every interview you hear with them, they'll say it without even having to talk about it, right? And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago in one of the Zaire Franklin podcasts on the Trenches show, where he talked about how much he loves Coach, or it was Jonathan Taylor talking about how much he loves Coach and how much he's buying in. And we've seen so many of the guys talk about how it's so easy to buy into Coach because of the competitive nature that he has and how much he loves the game and how much he brings everybody together. So there are a lot of positive things happening. And even though we might not be a Super Bowl contender this year, it looks like we're going to make the playoffs. And I wouldn't be surprised if we were able to win a playoff game. We're that tough of a team, in my opinion. We're finding ways to win. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what we have going on. I think we found the perfect coach for the future. I think we have the right quarterback. We just got to make sure we're able to get him to stay on the field in the future. But really excited for what I'm seeing. Love to know your thoughts on everything. You let me know down in the comment section, man. If you love the Colts as much as I do and you're watching this channel, man, I don't know what you're doing. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you have notifications on. We have videos every single day on this channel. And there are a lot of things that I want your guys' opinion on so that, I know what the pulse is for Colts Nation so that I can come up with different things for us to talk about as we go forward. So again, let your opinion be here down in the comment section. And of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.